Every time I jump into Red Matter 2 or 1, which is probably once a week I'm like, I need to remind myself how good VR is. And I jump into Red Matter and I am still blown away. Every time. The smoothness, the turning of your head, that 120 native is just mind-blowingly good. The sharpness of the textures, the lighting, the design. It still blows my mind that since that came out, other developers haven't looked at this and gone, this is how good our games need to look. I played Arizona Sunshine Remake and I was so disappointed in those graphics. It's like going from HD back to 480p and it's still reprojected. What are they doing? Don't get me wrong, I love the game. It's fun, it's great. The feeling of shooting those zombies and the guns feel so good. I love the humor. I love the setting in that desert. You can feel the heat. But why aren't they using dynamic foveated rendering? Does it not give it that much of a boost? I'd love for them to communicate with us and tell us why it isn't there, why it's so hard. If anyone knows, please put it in the comments or reach out. I don't think the graphics in Arizona Sunshine 1 are that complex. What is probably the most complex part is the hordes of zombies. I noticed at the end of Arizona 2, the frame rates were dropping when all those zombies came out. And this is what I want to talk about. I feel like people are still making games like they're making them for flat screen and not trying to match the hardware that we have right now. I feel like Red Matter was matched to what VR is capable of right now. It looks even great on the Quest. I think more developers need to match their games to the hardware instead of trying to create these worlds that are so big and so vast that it's impossible right now with the PS5 and VR2. The only way to possibly play these games perfectly is with a 4090. And that is expensive, all right? That's it, $5,500, $6,000 PC, Australian dollars. Plus, if you want a good headset, either buy the VR2, or if you want no pixels, you're gonna have to spend $2,000 or more. It's just too hard for most people right now to have that tech. The great thing about PlayStation 5 and VR2 is it is this perfect middle ground where it is affordable, but it's still good. To me, the Quest 3 is just not good enough. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. It's amazing for the price. It's insane for the price. But it's $800 here. Why don't they just make it $1,600 and bump the res up so we don't see pixels anymore? Or put an OLED screen. How good would the Quest 3 be with an OLED screen? It'd be insanely good. I'd have one in a second. I still use my Quest 1 instead of getting a Quest 3 because of the OLED screen. It's that much better. Every time I jump into the Quest 3, I'm going on a mad tangent here. Every time I jump into the Quest 3, I'm blown away at first because of the clarity, and I love that. So much more clear and crisp than the PlayStation VR 2. But I never get immersed in what I'm doing because the contrast just isn't there. I feel like I'm looking at a screen. Whereas when I'm in a PlayStation VR 2, I don't feel like I'm looking at a screen. I'm looking at the world, even though it's cloudy. I'd rather a cloudy world than a crisp screen in front of me. And that's what I loved about the Vision Pro. It had the best of both worlds. And my God, is it amazing. It's also $6,000. I can't justify spending it on that when there's not a world of amazing software to support it. PlayStation VR 2, different story. So many good games. It's pretty cheap. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, you got to save for it. It's not just throwaway money. But it's right in that middle section. And Red Matter 2, weaving back in, shows us what it is capable of if developers are smart about creating content that suits the hardware. I was really thinking after Red Matter 2 that it would lift the bar and we'd get all these insane games. I want Red Matter 2 style graphics in the jungle. I want it in the tunnels. I want it in Arizona. Instead, the only place I get to look around at 120 hertz and feel like I'm in reality is in space, because that's Red Matter. I want to feel that everywhere. And it annoys me that Vertigo Games isn't getting the most out of our PlayStation VR 2 headsets. And I want to know why. Anyway, that's my rant. Let me know if you feel the same. And I'm sure Vertigo has a really good reason for this. And I'd love to know it. I'd love a little bit of communication. It'd be awesome.